All right, buckle up for a deep dive. And this one might sound a little out there. We're talking curses, blessings, maybe even talking cows.
Oh, yeah, this one's a doozy.
Today's source material: the teachings of Mikio Dayan. He's a Japanese Buddhist monk.
And, not just any monk. This guy's got a knack for, well, predicting things,
Like some serious things.
including a global pandemic, years before it happened.
So we'll dig into his story, see what we can make of his unique perspective, see if there's something more to it than just, lucky guesses.
Right, like, is there some method to this seeming madness?
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. Dayan's the second son in a, traditional Japanese Buddhist family.
Which means he's not exactly in line to inherit the family temple, right?
First in line. Nope. Ends up a wandering monk.
The classic hero's journey. Got to face those hardships,
Right. Transformative stuff.
And for Dayan, that transformation happens during a trip to India. He's got these incredibly vivid dreams featuring Daikukuten,
Deity of, what was it again?
wealth and good fortune. And get this, right after these dreams, he wins the lottery.
Wait, hold up. A monk wins the lottery.
You can't make this stuff up. You could almost call it like divine satire.
Right. Monk, sworn to simplicity, suddenly rolling in cash.
Really makes you question the whole like spiritual purity versus material wealth thing, right?
It's like a cosmic irony at its finest.
And what does he do with his winnings? Rebuilds a temple.
Which, noble gesture, sure.
But yeah, it kind of feeds into that whole commercialization of religion thing, right?
Fascinating how spirituality and money intersect like that. Okay, but the lottery, that's just the beginning. This is where things get really weird.
Oh, buckle up.
He develops an ability to smell illness and even death.
Now, how's that for a superpower?
Yeah, not exactly the one I'd put on my wish list. But seriously, what's the deal with that?
He describes the smell as metallic.
And the sicker the person, the stronger the smell.
That's what he claims. He even says he smelled the pandemic coming.
Okay, now that's just creepy. Is it like a sixth sense, or are we going full paranormal here?
Well, there is something called synesthesia. People's senses get kind of mixed up.
Like seeing sounds.
Exactly. Maybe Dayan's smelling illness is like that. Or who knows, maybe it's something else entirely.
And it gets weirder. The story of how he develops this ability involves sleep paralysis.
Sleep paralysis.
And wait for it, a giant cat.
Okay, you've lost me. A giant cat.
2 meters long, staring him down. It's like something out of a fever dream.
You gotta wonder, did this experience, real or not, trigger something in him?
Like some hidden sensory pathway or something.
It's almost as if his subconscious was, I don't know, trying to tell him something.
All right, so let's move on to the main event. The stuff that really got people talking. Curses and blessings.
This is where it gets interesting.
So Dayan believes curses can only work if, the person believes in them.
The power of suggestion. Like a reverse placebo effect. You think you're cursed, so you kind of curse yourself.
It's not magic, it's self-sabotage?
Yep. And get this, he thinks blessings work the same way.
So if someone doesn't believe in the blessing, it's just PFF.
Pretty much. Needs genuine intent and receptivity on the part of the receiver.
Like trying to force a gift on someone who doesn't want it.
Exactly. It's a two-way street, that power of belief. Okay, but now, this is where things get a little, strange again. He believes curses and blessings are strongest when tied to a physical object, a curse object.
So like a voodoo doll.
Well, not necessarily. It's more about imbuing an object with that energy, using it as a conduit.
So it's not just bad thoughts. You got to channel them into a thing.
That's what makes it so intriguing, right? This blend of psychology and the almost supernatural.
It's like he's saying our thoughts can actually impact the physical world. Whoa.
Right. Makes you think about consciousness and reality in a whole new way.
So is this guy a mystic or what? Or just a really good storyteller?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I guess it comes down to what you believe.
But even if you don't buy into it all, it definitely makes you think about reality, perception, the whole shebang.
Mind-bending stuff for sure. All right, let's take a break from the curses and giant cats for a bit.
Catch our breath.
When we come back, we'll dive into Dayan's encounters with the unexplained, including, you guessed it, UFOs.
Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. And we're back, still trying to wrap our heads around Mikio Dayan, the monk who, seems to defy categorization.
We've covered curses, blessings, even a giant cat, but now we're going full X-Files. Dayan's thoughts on UFOs.
Yeah, you don't hear a Buddhist monk talking about aliens every day.
But with Dayan, anything's possible,
Yeah.
right? What's interesting is he doesn't go the whole conspiracy theory route.
No, no, it's more about, like, integrating UFOs into his Buddhist framework.
Right, like those multiple realms of existence we talked about earlier.
Exactly. He suggests that UFOs might be like glimpses into those other realms,
So not little green men, but maybe interdimensional beings.
or even like spirits or deities from Buddhist cosmology.
Okay, now that's a take I haven't heard before.
It fits with his whole philosophy, you know, the interconnectedness of everything.
So it's not just accepting the usual UFO narratives, it's putting them in a spiritual context.
Exactly. And it's not just UFOs. He draws these parallels between Buddhist teachings and modern science.
Like, is he trying to prove reincarnation with, like, DNA testing?
Not quite, but he compares karmic inheritance to genetic inheritance.
So instead of inheriting your dad's bad eyesight, you inherit, like, bad karma from a past life.
It's more about understanding how past experiences, even from past lives, might influence us now.
So there might be these, like, unseen forces shaping our lives.
It's a way of looking at it, and he even suggests that, like, science is catching up to what Buddhism has known for centuries.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
But it definitely shows how he blends ancient wisdom with modern thinking. Okay, but all this talk of curses, blessings, UFOs, it's fascinating. But how does it help us in everyday life?
Oh, Dayan's teachings are surprisingly practical. He's not just about abstract concepts.
So it's not all meditation and mountaintop retreats.
Meditation is part of it, sure, but he emphasizes mindfulness in everyday life, mental discipline.
Like controlling our thoughts and emotions.
Exactly. Becoming less reactive to stress, more capable of handling whatever comes our way.
Easier said than done, right?
He offers techniques, though. Mindfulness exercises, gratitude practices, even watching horror movies.
Wait, horror movies? That seems a little out there for a monk.
He believes it can build mental fortitude, exposing yourself to fear in a safe environment.
Like a workout for your emotional resilience.
Exactly. Pushing your boundaries, realizing you're stronger than you think.
I don't know about horror movies, but I get the idea. Facing your fears, even in small ways.
Yeah, and that's Dayan's core message. We have more agency than we think. We can shape our reality.
So it's not just self-improvement. It's about realizing our interconnectedness, working together.
To create a better future, yeah. And that brings us to, well, a bit of a heavier topic, his interpretation of the Eight Calamities.
Eight Calamities. That sounds ominous. Should I be stocking up on canned goods?
Hold your horses. It's not as straightforward as, like, the world ending. It's more about cycles and consequences.
Okay, so, like, if we keep messing things up, the universe hits the reset button.
Sort of. The calamities are these, like, plagues, wars, disasters, things that happen when humanity is out of balance.
Now get this. He thinks they've already started. He sees the pandemic as the first one.
Like a wake-up call, right? Exposing our weaknesses. He says the conflicts, the crises we've seen lately, they're all part of it.
Okay, that's a little unsettling. What are the other calamities, and can we, like, skip a few?
He doesn't get into specifics, but he mentions things like natural disasters, economic collapse, maybe even alien encounters.
Aliens again. Are they here to save us or destroy us?
That's the big question, isn't it? But he emphasizes that these outcomes aren't inevitable. We can change course.
So it's not about waiting for the apocalypse. It's about taking action, making things better.
Exactly. It's about realizing our potential. Cultivating compassion, wisdom, acting for the greater good. We can create a better future. It's not about doom and gloom. It's about choice.
Wow, this whole conversation has been a whirlwind. Talking cows, UFOs, curses, blessings, now 8 calamities. Dayan definitely makes you think outside the box.
He reminds us that the world is full of mystery. There's always more to learn, and we have the power to shape our destiny.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Mikio Dayan, remember, keep an open mind, stay curious, and question everything.
The future's not set in stone. We create it, so let's choose wisely.
And don't forget to check out the show notes for more on Dayan and his mind-bending teachings. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those deep dives going. All right, back again and ready to tackle this whole 8 calamities thing. It's a bit, well, intense, right?
Yeah, definitely a topic that gets people, you know, a little freaked out. It's like ancient Buddhist prophecies. Basically, a whole bunch of terrible events leading up to, well, kind of a reset for humanity.
So, like, the end of the world as we know it. Should I be, prepping my bunker?
Dayan's take is a little more, I guess you could say, hopeful. He sees these calamities as, like, warnings, but also opportunities.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not so much about, like, predicting the future. It's more about, I don't know, understanding how things work, the cycles of existence, and what happens when, well, when we mess things up.
So if we keep making bad choices, the universe steps in and says, all right, time for a timeout.
Yeah, kind of. The calamities are like plagues, wars, natural disasters, all the stuff that happens when things get out of balance.
Makes sense.
And get this, Dayan thinks it's already started. He sees the pandemic as the first calamity.
Wow. That's a pretty intense thought.
Yeah, it was a global event, right?
Yeah.
Shook us all up, showed us how vulnerable we are.
For sure.
And he's saying the conflicts, the environmental stuff, all the unrest we're seeing now, it's all connected.
Like ripples from that initial pandemic shockwave.
Exactly.
Okay, so I got to ask, what are the other calamities? And, any chance we could avoid them?
Well, he doesn't get into specifics, but he mentions things like even worse natural disasters, economic collapse, maybe even contact with extraterrestrials.
Wait, aliens again? Are they coming to help or, make things worse?
Good question, right. But Dayan emphasizes that nothing's set in stone. We have the power to change things.
So it's not about passively waiting for the world to end. It's about taking action.
Yeah. It's about realizing our potential, becoming more compassionate, wiser, acting for the good of everyone. We can create a better future. It's not about doom and gloom. It's about making choices.
Man, this whole conversation has been a roller coaster. From talking cows to UFOs to, the end of the world. Mikio Dayan really pushes you to think differently.
Yeah, he reminds us that there's so much we don't know, so much to explore, and, that we're not just along for the ride. We have the power to shape things.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, remember, keep an open mind, stay curious, and don't be afraid to question, well, everything.
And remember, the future is in our hands. Let's choose wisely.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. And until next time, keep exploring.